All right, so get this.
Okay.
Trump,
Yeah.
second term.
Wow.
It's Wednesday morning, and we are diving right in, no waiting, right into this article. Trump's victory speech,
Yeah.
5 takeaways. We're going to talk about this
Yeah.
surprise win,
Yeah.
talk of unity,
Yes.
and a whole lot of questions about what comes next.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we even begin?
Well, I think what's striking right away is how unexpected this is.
Yeah.
I mean, before the election, Trump himself was downplaying his chances,
Right.
Remember all the legal battles,
Oh, yeah.
the assassination attempts?
Mhm.
He painted himself as the underdog.
Yeah.
I mean, his running mate, J.D. Vance, is calling this the greatest political comeback in American history.
Really? The greatest comeback.
Yeah.
It's like he was setting the scene for a movie,
Yeah.
right? The embattled hero
Uh-huh.
against all odds.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful narrative,
It is.
especially for those who see him as a fighter against the establishment.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this,
This comeback kid narrative.
Yeah.
I mean, it really resonates with a certain segment of the population.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reinforces this image of Trump defying the odds in the system.
Absolutely. And then there's that victory speech, right?
Oh, those.
Yeah. All this talk of healing, unity.
Uh-huh.
He even avoided mentioning Kamala Harris.
Right.
Or any Democrats
Interesting.
by name.
Yeah.
I mean, do you buy it?
Well, it's interesting to see him strike this unifying tone after such a divisive election.
Right.
And, given his history of,
Yeah.
let's just say,
Yeah.
strong rhetoric,
Sure, sure.
It makes you wonder, can you really unite a nation after running such a contentious campaign?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Especially since he's also claiming
Oh, yeah.
a powerful mandate
Right.
from the American people
Uh-huh.
based on Republican wins in the Senate
Mm-hmm.
and potential wins in the House.
Does that set the stage for a more divided second term?
Well, it could.
Okay.
On the one hand, a Republican-controlled Congress would give him significant leverage to push his agenda.
Yeah.
Think cabinet appointments,
Mm-hmm.
legislation.
Right.
I mean, he'd have a much easier time getting things done.
For sure.
But on the other hand, to those who didn't vote for him,
Yeah.
this mandate claim
Yeah.
might feel like he's dismissing their concerns.
Right.
Which could deepen the divide.
Yeah.
That's a tricky balancing act.
It is.
Yeah.
And then there's this list of people he thanked in his speech.
Oh, yeah, the thank yous.
Right, like a who's who
Yeah.
of a very specific who's who.
A very particular group.
We're talking Elon Musk, Dana White,
Oh, wow.
podcasters like Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan,
Interesting.
even Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I mean, what's going on there?
That is an eclectic mix, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, it suggests a lot about who might hold influence in his second term.
Okay.
Take Elon Musk.
Okay.
I mean, his companies are already working on government projects.
Right.
SpaceX and NASA, for example.
Yeah.
Is this a sign of even closer ties between the administration and the tech world?
Wow.
And then there's Kennedy,
Right.
who's been outspoken against vaccines.
Yeah.
Could this signal a shift in public health policy?
That's a long way from drain the swamp, that's for sure.
For sure.
And speaking of shifts, the article points out how Trump's rhetoric has become more religious, especially after that assassination attempt.
Yeah.
I mean, he even said,
We say,
quote, "Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason, and that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness."
wow.
It's not just about appealing to religious voters anymore.
Right.
It's about framing himself
Right.
as chosen
Yeah.
for a higher purpose.
That's a really interesting point. It's like he's framing his presidency in almost messianic terms.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a powerful message,
It is.
especially for his base.
Right. It's not just about appealing to, religious voters anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's about framing himself as chosen
Right.
for this higher purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
how will this religious rhetoric shape his second term? Does it suggest
Does it suggest?
a more uncompromising approach?
It certainly adds another layer to his leadership style.
It does.
We've seen the deal maker,
Right.
the showman,
Uh-huh.
and now perhaps the chosen one.
It's true. Yeah,
It's a fascinating evolution.
it is.
And it will be intriguing to see how it plays out over the next 4 years.
Absolutely. Speaking of intriguing, let's dive a little deeper into this eclectic group of influencers.
Okay.
What can their presence tell us
Mm-hmm.
about Trump's priorities and potential strategies for this second term? We'll unpack that right after this.
It's interesting, this article mentions Trump thanking Elon Musk, but it doesn't really explore, like, the implications of that connection, It's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think.
I agree. I mean, we already know Musk's company has been involved in
Oh, yeah.
government contracts,
Right.
SpaceX and NASA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could this be a sign that...
I mean, could this signal, that those partnerships will deepen during a second Trump term?
Possibly. It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
And it's not just space exploration.
No.
I mean, Musk is a major player.
Huge.
In electric vehicles, renewable energy, even artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his influence could extend
Oh, absolutely.
across a wide range of policy areas.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a far cry from the traditional industries that have typically held sway in Washington.
Yeah, it really is.
It makes you wonder, I mean, are we seeing a power shift towards the tech sector?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a question worth considering.
It is.
I mean, Trump has always been a disruptor.
That's true.
Maybe aligning himself with figures like Musk is part of a larger strategy to reshape the American economy and its place in the world.
And then you have figures like Joe Rogan and Theo Von, podcasters with these massive followings.
Huge.
Particularly among younger demographics.
Yeah, younger people, for sure.
What do you make of their inclusion in the victory speech?
It's fascinating, I think. It's a fascinating insight into Trump's media strategy.
Okay.
He's always understood the power of, bypassing traditional media outlets, and connecting directly with his base.
Yeah. I mean, he was a reality TV star before he was a politician.
Exactly.
I mean, he knows how to create a spectacle.
He does.
And control the narrative.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And these podcasters offer him a direct line to millions of listeners who may not be getting their news from traditional sources. It's a way to circumvent the filters of mainstream media and shape public opinion on his own terms.
It's like building a media empire within a political empire.
I like that, yeah.
And speaking of empires, the article also mentioned Dana White.
Oh, wow.
The CEO of the UFC.
Interesting.
That one seemed a little out of left field to me.
On the surface, yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, Trump has a long history with professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, he even participated in WrestleMania.
I forgot about that.
Back in 2007.
That's right.
He understands the appeal of spectacle, of larger-than-life personalities, and of creating drama that, captivates an audience.
Right. So is Dana White's presence?
I mean, is it more about symbolism than substance?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, is it just another way to tap into that sense of spectacle and entertainment?
It could be.
It could be.
Yeah. But it's also worth noting that the UFC has a global audience.
Huge. Global.
Right.
Okay.
Could this be a sign that Trump is looking to project American power?
I see what you're saying.
An influence on an international stage.
Interesting.
Through the lens of sports and entertainment.
It's a possibility worth pondering, yeah.
Yeah, it is. We've covered a lot of ground here, from tech billionaires to podcasting giants.
Yeah, we have.
To the world of mixed martial arts.
An eclectic mix.
It paints a pretty colorful picture of the potential forces shaping Trump's second term.
It does.
But, it's easy to get lost in the personalities and the intrigue.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what does all of this...
What does it all mean
for actual policy?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And unfortunately, this particular article doesn't offer many specific clues about Trump's policy agenda.
Right.
But, we can speculate based on his past actions and the figures he seems to be aligning himself with.
Okay, let's speculate. What are some of the key policy areas that you think might be impacted?
Well, based on his first term,
yeah,
it seems safe to assume that issues like economic nationalism, border security, and energy independence will remain top priorities.
Right. Those were the cornerstones of his America First agenda.
Exactly. And with a potentially more favorable Congress, he might have more leeway to pursue those goals aggressively.
What about foreign policy?
Oh, foreign policy.
That's always been a bit of a wild card with Trump.
True. His approach has been described as unpredictable, transactional, and often driven by personal relationships with world leaders.
Right. I mean, he seems to have a good rapport with some leaders like Putin, Bolsonaro, while others like Trudeau have been more critical.
Yeah.
Right. So it will be interesting to see how those personal dynamics play out on the global stage in his second term. Will he continue to pursue bilateral deals and challenge traditional alliances? Or will he adopt a more multilateral approach?
Good questions.
It is. And the article didn't dive too deeply into those specifics.
Okay.
But it did highlight one aspect of Trump's rhetoric that seems to be evolving.
Oh, yeah.
The use of religious language.
Right.
We touched on that earlier.
A little bit, yeah.
But I think it deserves further exploration.
I agree.
Let's unpack that right after this.
Okay, so we were talking about Trump's increasing use of religious rhetoric. It's a fascinating development.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when you consider that quote from his victory speech.
Right.
He said, "Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason. And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness."
Powerful stuff.
It's not just about appealing to religious voters anymore.
No.
You know, it's about framing himself as chosen for this higher purpose.
Right. It goes beyond just like acknowledging his faith.
Right. He's suggesting that his presidency is like divinely ordained.
Yeah.
That he's been chosen to lead America to, you know, a specific destiny.
It's almost like he's drawing a parallel between himself and those historical figures who are, you know, seen as instruments of divine will.
Yeah.
You think about Joan of Arc or Abraham Lincoln, these leaders who felt called by a higher power to fulfill a specific mission.
Powerful comparison, yeah.
And it raises some interesting questions.
He does, yeah.
Like, how will this sense of divine purpose shape his decision-making?
Exactly, yeah.
Will it embolden him to pursue his agenda with even greater conviction?
I mean, it makes you wonder if he'll be more willing to, like, take risks, to push the boundaries of his authority.
Yeah.
If he believes he's acting on behalf of a higher power.
Absolutely. And how will this rhetoric impact his relationship with those who don't share his beliefs?
That's a good point.
Right. Will it create a deeper divide between those who see him as a divinely appointed leader and those who view him as just, you know, a flawed politician?
It's a complex situation, especially in a country as diverse as the United States, where there's a wide spectrum of religious beliefs and a strong tradition of separating church and state.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out over the next 4 years.
It really is.
You know, will this religious framing
Right.
inspire greater unity and purpose, as Trump suggests?
Yeah.
Or will it further polarize the nation along religious lines?
It's a question we'll have to grapple with.
It is. It's a lot to unpack, and this article just scratches the surface.
Yeah, it does.
But it definitely gives us a lot to think about as we enter this new chapter in American history.
A lot to think about. We've seen the rise of populism,
Right.
the resurgence of nationalism, and now, you know, this increasing prominence of religious rhetoric in American politics.
It's a dynamic and unpredictable landscape.
It is.
And it'll be interesting to see how these forces interact, and shape the future of the nation.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing's for sure, it won't be boring.
No, it won't.
This deep dive has been a wild ride. From Trump's surprise victory to his eclectic inner circle.
That's for sure.
To his newfound emphasis on religious destiny.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
It has, and we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But I feel like we're just getting started.
I agree. There's still so much to learn and understand about this pivotal moment in American history.
That's right.
It's a story that's still being written.
It is.
And we'll all be watching to see how it unfolds.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
What is that?
It's not just about finding answers.
Right.
It's about asking the right questions.
Absolutely.
It's about engaging with complex issues, exploring different perspectives, challenging our own assumptions.
I couldn't agree more.
So as we move forward, it's essential to stay informed.
Yes.
To engage in, you know, thoughtful dialogue. And to never stop questioning those narratives we're being told.
Keep those questions coming.
Absolutely. Keep those conversations going and keep diving deep.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all for this episode of The Deep Dive.
All right.
We'll see you next time.